Good evening. Tonight, I have a special guest who actually appeared on another show last night, and it was a little bit of crossing streams, but it all works out because he's doing the circuit, so to speak. So my guest tonight worked for Hasbro for 10 years. He was a digital supervisor. He was the lead social media person for GI Joe from the onset of Hasbro's social channels. He wrote the 40th anniversary GI Joe theme, helped build Hasbro Pulse, wrote PulseCon, made most of the good content for the Transformers social media streams, and he has a cat named Meowgatron, who is actually canon in Transformers lore. So tonight, my guest, former Hasbro employee, Rick Laprade.
Hi.
How you doing, sir?
What's up, bud? How are you?
I'm stellar. How about yourself?
Good.
Awesome.
Gotta clean my office, but you know.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that backstage. You're like, I'm not a hoarder.
Oh man, it sucks because like I was on with Bobby and Ryan last night, and Bobby's at Valaverse headquarters. Ryan's office looks dope. Your office looks dope. I'm now coming on podcasts, and I look like I fucking live in the Amityville Horror House.
No, it's awesome. It looks great. It's that's not what it's all about anyway. So
I'm going for 70s like D&D vibe. So
do it. Have at it.
Yeah.
I'm going for weird garage vibe.
It works.
Yeah,
it works.
That's what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I'm using what's available to me. So so you were on with Ryan and Bobby over on 3POA last night, which was really cool. I actually caught that on replay today.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So that was interesting. Heard some stuff that was funny. Heard some stuff that maybe I'm going to pick on, maybe a little bit. You know. So we'll get to that. But
well, hopefully it's about Bobby because
it's not about Bobby at all. I would never do that.
No, of course.
I don't pick on people. I have no right to. So you were at Hasbro for about a decade, yeah?
I mean, on and off, yeah.
Right.
For sure. A lot of contract work, and they really milk the temp system. So there was a lot of that. And then 5 years as an actual employee.
No. So, there's a lot of talk, especially lately, about the what we as the lay person, who's just the collector, the consumer, read these reports about, wow, their profits were this much, but it wasn't enough, and then they laid off 1,000 people. But that's kind of not an uncommon practice over there, is it?
No, it's weird, and I don't get it. Like, I don't know the numbers, I don't know the business end of things at all.
Yeah.
Like, I was in fucking creative and social media, so that world wasn't anything to do with. But I mean, I just remember like you'd be at like the internal meetings, and it'd be like, hey, profits are up, and then like a month later the rumor mill starts, and then you got your death march going on where they just lay off hundreds of people that you work with and are intricate to the happenings, and then you're just left with what the hell's going to happen next. And I mean, that's working there in a nutshell, I hate to say.
Yeah. Hey, I got a message for you from my good friend and also a brother in combat and arms. Jeremy Jernigan says he's looking for some meme material from this stream. So hopefully we can hook him up.
Oh, Jesus.
And we got a lot of people in the chat with us. So we got Punk with Toys, George Aiken, Christopher's here, Lilith's here, Chuck Yeager's here, Ratface is here, Pericles is here, Ritz is here. Yeah. G.I. Joe and Star Wars guy. What's up? Thank you all for hanging out with myself and Rick tonight. So we're just talking Hasbro and the culture of Hasbro, and Hasbro fucking hates you, even though they probably don't hate you.
They probably don't even think about you is the thing,
and that's something else that we're going to talk about. So the culture at Hasbro, right? So you work there, you were a legitimate employee for some of it, you were a temp for some of the rest. We know that's kind of a common practice for them with the temps because it allows them to do certain things. And you guys would be privy to people like just getting axed. And how did that feel? How did it feel working in that kind of culture?
Oh, it's awful. I mean, it was
It
absolutely,
sucks, Chad. Moving on.
yeah, no, it sucked, Chad. Like, I don't know how else to say it. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I was telling Ryan too, it's like, and Bobby kind of touched on it. It's like, it's not just the anxiety culture that exists there, but it's that initial rumor mill that begins when you either get tipped off that there's layoffs coming or they actually say it. And then, there's a good solid month where everyone's just on edge. Like, when's it going to happen? Because it's going to happen. And then when it happens, you got another 3 to 4 months where you're just kind of walking on eggshells and the brass is telling you how lucky you are,
Yeah.
to still be there when really, like, your job just got harder. You're not making more money. And now you're doing extra people's work because they just cut a bunch of the work for it. Like, it's so backwards. And I mean, I can't speak for other companies or anything. It's just, that just seemed like a really shitty way to handle people, in my opinion.
Yes. I will say that as you're telling me this, part of me is going, that's the Department of Defense. That's the Department of Defense. That's the Army. Just like
Right.
when we hear that, PCS season's coming up, you're probably going to wind up going to Fort Polk or like somewhere where you do not want to go. And then the whole time you're like, and then you hear a little more and then, and it's all rumors and, no one's really telling you anything. And next thing you know, it's like, oh, I'm getting PCS at Fort Polk.
But it's interesting that that's similar because you're comparing armed services and a toy company, and it's the same culture.
It's just the,
You know what I mean?
stress of it's the stress of the unknown.
Like, there shouldn't be that level of stress when you're dealing with toys. And like, I've read some comments and everyone's like, no job is forever and blah, blah, blah. I get that. People get laid off all the time. And, I've said it before, like, I don't have sour grapes about getting let go from there because my graduating class was awesome. I got let go with like 3 of the best animators in the world. So, I was in a good class, I guess, that got cut. It's more like, oh man, like, the more you like dig into how it operates, it's really weird because, like, if I can I sidestep on a story real quick? I know I'm a little scattered, but like,
no, please.
So like, as a temp, a normal temp, right? You go in and it's usually like temp to perm. And sure, that happens once in a while.
Yeah.
But at Hasbro, you have people doing multiple temp ships where they leave and they come back, they leave and they come back. There was another writer at the company when we were in our temp things, they would swap us in and out. Like, I'd be there a year and then have to go away for 3 months. Then he'd be there a year and have to go away for 3 or 6 months, whatever the hell it was. And, we cross paths and work together and make some awesome stuff. But then you have someone else coming into your position, and as opposed to promoting the person to an actual employee and giving them benefits and stuff, you continue to milk that relationship because you're giving them something, like whether it's like some money or experience. And don't get me wrong, both of those are good, but it's, you constantly feel like you're auditioning for your own job. And oftentimes when I was a temp, I would have managers who would interview people in front of me for my job.
Oh, sorry. That's terrible.
No, I know. Like, do you know how it's so crazy to say that
that's
out
nuts.
loud?
That's nuts. Yeah.
But like, I mean, my friends know, but like, I just don't even care anymore. Like, I mean, this is how they operate, and nothing I'm saying, like, I don't know anything, like internal info or anything like that could violate any sort of an NDA. It's just like, my experience there was like, it was great for, when it was good, but overall, like, you walk out of that place with like some serious PTSD. Like, and I would challenge you or anyone, because I know a lot of people go to bat for the company as a whole because they love the products and everything. But the thing is, I challenge anyone who makes those statements to find one employee who did not leave on their own volition, who has something nice to say about that. because I certainly don't believe they exist.
Real quick, I got to say hi to my brother and partner in crime, Jay Bartlett. What's up, Jay? Yes, I do hate toys. Thank you very much. Jay and I got this thing about we hate toys. So.
Oh, I was like, well, I mean, you really named the show wrong if that's the case. You know?
Yeah, but this is a guy who did Action Figure Adventure, and then he went from Nintendo Quest to Action Figure Adventure. Then he kind of went back to like streaming games, and he still does toy stuff. And a bunch of people are like, "Do you hate toys now?" He's like, "No, I don't hate toys. What's the matter with you?" So it's just it's a running thing. So yeah, very cool. So that kind of sounds like that would be detrimental to, say, continuity, quality control. You know, when you stop, new person, somebody picks up your work, and then you come back and you're like, what the fuck did you do to my house? You know, kind of stuff like that.
Yeah. And the reason that system is so weird and backwards is, you know, like you have the overlap, but it's really hard to instill like brand knowledge and also policies and tone and all this other stuff in a very short window of time to someone else who's now going to pick up your projects and try to take them to the finish line. That's crazy. And, you know, like when I'm saying projects, I don't mean like, you know, the development of like a toy or something. I mean like, you know, like our social media strategy, like content. How are we going to engage fans? Because that's important, because social media should be social, not buy all this shit. That's what you have Hasbro Pulse for, you know, like the brand stuff should be brand awareness. And that's what we tried our best to do. But, you know, with any job, you're going to have, you know, red tape and legal and HR, and everyone's got issues with everything. But, you know, we tried to fight the good fight for you guys when we were there, but I don't know.
You know, and speaking of social media should be social and things like that. Not only should it be social, but I think to a degree it should not be tone deaf either. So, you know, the 1,000 people layoff starts, and immediately Hasbro Pulse posts this shit about like, oh, on the 14th, nothing spells LOVE love like fucking pre-orders. And I was like, you got people that you just canned who are like, man, I'm so sad to lose my job, and I put my heart and soul into that job. And then they're just like, hey, we're going to throw some digital renders up and some crap for you to buy. And I was like, that seems a little poorly timed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
but that's a perfect example of how I view their general attitude towards consumers. It's just money. And, you know, again, like, I get it. It's capitalism. It's a business. You're there to make money. But when you're a toy company that over the years has started to tout itself as an entertainment company, you can't be that tone deaf. You have brands that people have emotional investment in, and you should cater to that, and you should nurture that and make them want to buy your stuff, not just hit them with buy this shit.
Right.
No matter what.
Value added.
Right.
So Jay here brings up a good point. He says, I want Hasbro Star Wars 2000 to 2010. So Jay and I always talk about that mid-aughts kind of Hasbro, where you're talking like anything from 2000 to 2010, like in that middle. To me, the sweet spot was like 2007, 2009. Star Wars was firing on all cylinders with their 1/18 scale, and they were making all these characters, you know, like background characters and this, that, and killer vehicles and all this stuff, and they were just blowing it up.
Was that Power of the Force?
No, there was like the Saga collection and all that stuff, and there was a bunch. I don't know, Jay, chime in with what the lines were called, but it was just all that 1/18 scale Star Wars stuff. And then that's when G.I. Joe came back too, right? In the 1/18 scale and that modern articulation 4-inch, and you got vehicles and figures, and just they were just killing it. Hasbro was killing it then. They were taking risks. I don't know. And the mid-aughts Hasbro versus the 2020s late teens. Like the slide started in the late teens, and I know that people want to blame COVID and all this stuff, but their issues were long before COVID.
Their issues were, and
want to be
still
like,
are.
well, distribution sucks because of COVID. It's like, yeah, your distribution was crap years before that. Like a lot of us have been around for decades. Like like don't bullshit a bullshitter. You're not fooling anybody. So
it's rough.
So you were there for the launch of Classified, huh?
Yes, I was.
So you and I have discussed this. Everyone in the chat knows I am not a classified person. I don't even refer to it as a GI Joe. It's just classified, right? Wow. That's what it is to me. It's like Legends figures cosplaying as GI Joe. But you told me something backstage, and I would like for you to kind of reshare that and maybe expand on that if you don't mind. So tell us about the launch of Classified, and speaking about the culture at Hasbro, sort of let's weave that thread.
All right,
let him have it.
All right, so like just quick backstory. It was I forgot how we got hooked up with Bobby, but when I first met Bobby, right? Bobby was still there.
Vala, right?
Bobby Vala, Valaverse. And you know, me and my partner at the time from work, we were talking to Bobby in his office, which used to be fucking awesome. I mean, Valaverse headquarters is better, but you know, it was still a cool place. Because he was right in like the design area where everyone had all the cool shit from throughout the years. And, you know, he showed us a couple things from the original Classifieds, like when he was, you know, like, this is what I want the wave to be, right? And I've never been that excited about toys. I was like, oh my God, because I differ. I really like the 6-inch scale. Like, especially for like customization and shit. It just makes it so much easier.
It's like a kindergartner with paint by numbers. Like, the figures are so big. Anyway, that's just my joke about it.
No, it is though. But it's, you know, I don't know. Like I'm part of the Joe bashing group on Facebook, and I love kit bashing action figures because I'm a complete nerd. And 6-inch scale is easier. So I digress. So back to that. So Bobby shows us this cool shit. But 2 weeks later, I'm walking into work, and there was like internal talk. Like we had a meeting that day with like it was like some team of marketers, but they weren't referred to as like the Joe team, because the reason is because Bobby and Daryl DePriest were the Joe team, and they let them go. And I was baffled. I was like, how are you going to launch a brand and let like the guy who's making the figures, or at least, you know, conceptual or whatever the hell Bobby did, he did a lot for him. And the guy who literally wrote the book about G.I. Joe, like, you don't want them on the team? You're going to launch this brand and you don't want those guys? Okay.
Yeah. The guy who lobbied for G.I. Joe to go to 112 scale for so long, and then came up with the concepts and the mock-ups and all that stuff. And they're like,
yeah. And Daryl, I was in his office and Larry Hama called him on the phone.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want that guy on your team? Are you kidding
Apparently
me?
not.
Like, come on.
But this culture kind of goes, that's not what I meant to highlight. Yeah. Hi, Mr. Eldor. That's not what I meant to highlight.
Oh, I was like, well, hello.
This, you know, but that culture, the culture that, you know, you experience firsthand, that now people in the general public are seeing more and more and more and more. It's like the curtains pulled back and everybody sees the Wizard of Oz. But it's been around for a long time. Like even, you know, Robot Ron Rudat, the guy who designed everything for how long?
Ron, right? The Cobra symbol.
Yeah, he set the visual language for G.I. Joe. Him, Bob Prupis, Kirk Pazigian, like those guys set that language. Steve DeGuano, and they're like
Daryl, Flintdale, like
all those guys. Yeah,
all those guys.
So it's not a new thing. It's not just like the Hassenfelds are gone. I mean, it's a lot worse without the Hassenfelds. I mean, let's be honest. But I have said time and again that you are no longer a toy company, you're a shareholder company.
Oh yeah.
And I don't really look for any like justification or vindication, but I see it.
Yeah,
And then,
I mean, honestly, like I think it was around a friend of mine posted something like it was a comment thread right after this week's layoffs happened, and a lot of ex-employees were commenting on it, and I think they said it was right around 2008 when the shift happened, and they started listening to shareholders and not internal people and fans. So I mean, if you look at, I don't know how much fact is behind it, but like she usually knows her stuff, and I mean that's over a decade of increasing bullshit.
but just as I was saying, like Jay and I talk all the time about that mid-aughts Hasbro, how they were just killing it in every direction. Mid-aughts Hasbro, they were just destroying it. The
Yeah,
Legacy Falcon, the re-release of 118 scale, modern GI Joe, everything that they were doing. And then what you just said about like around roughly 2008, and then it started tapering, and then it just went off the cliff.
yeah.
And then Lawrence here says, I would have fired anyone that tried to start 6-inch GI Joes too. You damn straight I would have.
Jesus, that's harsh.
I'm so against it. But that's personal. I don't look at people who buy it. I'm like, you're stupid. Like I would never do that, right? So I don't purchase shame people. I just no.
I'm gonna start doing that, I think.
Yeah.
No.
I found a carded Battle Core Headhunter Stormtrooper in a toy store today. Yeah. Headhunter Stormtrooper.
That's cool.
So brand managers. So
yeah.
How much it's totally a loaded question. How much do these brand managers know about the brands that they manage, Rick?
I can't speak for all of them, but
not all of them, right?
Right.
Individual results may vary, right?
Exactly. Like I'm not going to overgeneralize, but what I will say from my experience, when after layoffs, typically there seemed to be a lot of internal movement. So you'd have to combine departments and things like that. And I don't know the reasoning, but anyway, people would shift around, and other times they would just shift people around. So you'd have someone come in from a different brand like Play School or My Little Pony, and now they're on Action Brands. And that's a different language. Like there's a different marketing style from one to the other. And, if you're walking in and your head's full of Rainbow Dash and Princess Twilight, whatever the fuck.
Some fat butt little plastic horse.
Yeah, like if your head's full of that and now you're trying to come up with, tactics for like a G.I. Joe, how the hell do you think that's going to, I'm a writer, man. I'm not going to go and try to fix your toilet. Like that's
yeah, right.
That's a skill set I don't have. And, I get it. Like marketing in itself can be a skill set, but like also at the same time, like I don't think I could, there's certain things like I couldn't write about cars, for instance. I don't know anything about cars.
Yeah.
Like it'd be crazy.
It's like, well, I'm an infantry man, and my higher headquarters is like, hey, you got to fill out this Excel spreadsheet. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
You're infantry. They're like, all right, you're now fixing the tank. You're like, what?
I type like this, like a T-Rex, just like, yeah,
but
like a sad T-Rex.
And then
so here's
a constant influx of that, of people coming in who have no idea about the brand. And like, so a lot of your job there, and again, not everybody, but you're educating people constantly because people are either kicked out or moved somewhere else. And it doesn't make any sense.
Well, even Kirk Bazigian, after he helped set the G.I. Joe line, he set the 82 to 84 line with Bob Prupus and those guys, Ron Rudat, and then they moved him over to Play School Baby for several years, and then they brought him back as he's the Boys Toys manager. So
yeah,
here's a question, and you and I we're gonna talk about movies here in a minute, because I know you're passionate about the Hasbro brand movies as well.
Oh yeah, but they're terrible.
Here's and this kind of ties into both Hasbro, certain people being less than knowledgeable, and also Lorenzo G. Bonaventura, who I believe should never be allowed near a G.I. Joe film ever again, which he has been, what, 3 times already? So, Cornelius, and did Hasbro believe G. Bonaventura when he said Cobra Commander's hood looked like a Klansman hood?
I don't know if they believed it, but what I can say is that we weren't allowed to ever post images of Cobra Commander wearing a hood.
After D. Bonaventura said it was a Klan hood, not an executioner's hood.
Which is so crazy. Like that, so that right there, like that blanket statement when that happened, that killed a good month of content that we had made. Because it all revolved around episodes where Cobra Commander is wearing the hood, and then they're like, you can't do that. And I'm like, it's from the show. Yeah. Like, you're streaming the show on YouTube, which is on the internet. But
every day. Every day.
Oh, yeah, but we can't use an image of that on the official G.I. Joe channel.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And that is a huge point of contention with a lot of fans. Like that's kind of where the fracture in this whole IP fandom versus like the brand loyalists, which I have a problem with anyone who's a brand loyalist, because then you're blind to the fact that there's quality control issues, there's distribution problems. They basically don't give 2 shits about customers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if you're a brand loyalist, you just put those blinders on and you just purchase, you know. It's like they live at that point. But this is kind of one of those things where the cracks really started showing, where once it got out that Hasbro had completely deleted, for lack of a better word, Hooded Cobra Commander because of this explanation, and you saw half the fan base was like, well, that's totally stupid and incorrect.
Yeah.
Like, we want Hooded Cobra Commander. And then and then you had all these people who wanted Hooded Cobra Commander making memes, because I was one of them. You know what I mean? Like, oh, look at how scary he is, you know?
Dude.
And then you had the other half that was like, shut up. It's not. Either they would say like, it's not true, it's not a big deal, just buy them, shut up, you know, don't worry about it. It's like,
I used to use Facebook groups like G.I. Joe and Transformers as testing grounds for memes. Like when I was working at Hasbro, like I would do it there first. And if people seem to dig it, then I do it on the official channel. Because I was like, I don't want to make shit that, you know, people don't like or get, or like, I don't want to get like hello fellow kidded, because Jesus Christ, worked on the internet too long for that. Okay.
No Steve Buscemi.
No, like
I hope some people got that reference.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't.
I'll be here all
Maybe
week.
they didn't.
Try the veal.
And then, so Photo Viper says, it always seems Hasbro wants G.I. Joe to fail. Instead of profit, they'd rather use it as a tax write-off. So this kind of goes along with that whole thing where, you know, G.I. Joe is 100% owned by Hasbro, always has been since way back in the 60s. And it's the brand that saved their company 3 times over. But every time Joe dies, it's because Hasbro kills it. Like 93 was G.I. Joe's second biggest year for a real American hero. 94, they were having like these massive events on aircraft carriers. And then, right, the suits make that decision. They're like, well, we're going to give it to the people in Cincinnati from Kenner. And that's how you get G.I. Joe Extreme. And they nuked Real American Hero.
Oh, God.
Like them or not, those movies. So Rise of Cobra made 300 million. Retaliation made almost 400 million. It was going in this direction. They had that planned G.I. Joe 3. And, you know, Bobby talks about this too. Speaking of Bobby, he was working on the G.I. Joe 3 line, and then they were like, yeah, we're not doing that. And they just killed it after all the work they put into it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, who killed Joe Con? Hasbro.
Yeah.
You know, who killed all the modern stuff that ran from 2007 to 2019? Hasbro. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
Kind of one of those things.
It's weird. And I don't get it. It's like, you know, when Joe came back and Classified launch, right? Like, at first we thought it was all going to be like a big thing. So, you know, I was like, great, it's my favorite brand. Like, let me pump out like years worth of content for this. And then like a week later, I'm like, here you go. Like I could do this in my sleep. And we just kept hearing like G.I. Joe's not a priority. It's like, why? It's easily your most like, your most diverse group of characters. So
Always has been.
Yep. So diversity inclusion, check. It has a story. Wow. For an entertainment company to want something to have a story. Holy shit. Mind blowing, right? So fucking check right there. And then Jesus, people love it and are ravenous about it. Like,
yeah.
If you like G.I. Joe, I feel like you really like G.I. Joe. Like, I don't know a lot of folks who are just like casual about it. It's like you're a fan or you're not a fan. You know
My whole life is modeled around G.I. Joe. And that's not a stretch. I'm not exaggerating, right? In 82, when Joe came out, I left all other toy lines behind. I maybe got onesie twosies from Return of the Jedi line, which was right about the same time anyway. But it was G.I. Joe from then on. And then obviously my given career is directly related to the influence that G.I. Joe had on me as a child. Yeah. And I'm 48 years old now. So for people to say that like it's an emerging brand or it's not popular, even that stupid ass classified Hiss Tank sold out in less than 9 hours. It was their fastest selling. Like the Sky Striker did well. They just randomly throw up that Cobra Stinger and boom, it sells out immediately when nobody even knew that thing was coming. Like, but they still call it an emerging brand. Even G.I. Joe Resolute, which was that 10 episode little mini series, but then they made it into a movie. Resolute's so good.
Resolute was awesome.
It is so loved and it was so well received. I don't understand why this whole emerging brand like Paw Patrol is going to take priority over G.I. Joe. Like, I don't know who's making those decisions.
Like, what's it emerging from? Like, it hasn't gotten there yet. It's been 40 fucking years.
Yeah. Exactly.
Usually when you emerge, like you emerge, like you fucking step into the room like a magician. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Here I am.
Like, sometimes with a smoke bomb, sometimes without.
Yeah, you're like, Pirate Roberts. There you are.
Exactly. Yeah, you emerge and then you're there.
And then Lawrence wants to let you know that I asked him to do a live stream with him about the new classified reveals, and all I did was rip on them the whole time.
I like the classified lines.
That's fine.
I like them a lot.
It's my show, and I can say whatever I want.
Absolutely. Valverse their accessories are way better, and the quality is just better figure wise too. But I mean,
I don't like 1/12 scale at all. I don't believe that it lends to world building, and that's just me. Plus, I have a 40+ year history of 1/18 scale. Why do I want to change?
Yeah,
I only collect Joe and some parallel brands anyway, so I don't have a bunch of Masters of the Universe and Marvel Legends and stuff like that. So it just doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah,
but
to each their own.
I've always bought some Valaverse stuff because it's its own thing. It's not. I can appreciate the Action Force. Plus, I think it's rad that he bought Action Force. I just think that's so cool because I love Action Force. I love it. Right. I love Red Shadows and the whole 9 yards and Baron Ironblood and all that stuff. So when he bought Action Force, I was like, all right, man, I see what you're doing. That's cool.
And then my heart.
He came up with a story and he built a world. And yeah, he only has figures, but he's got comics and he's already building lore and things like that. And then G.I. Joe, Classified comes out and they're just like, here. And then they just like hand you a figure and you're like, okay.
They're like, here's 8 Snake Eyes. You're like, whoa, Snake Eyes. Yeah. Great. And then every time a Snake Eyes comes out.
Did you say you wanted 5 roadblocks? Yeah.
No. We said we wanted Major Blood and the Crimson Twins early, and instead you gave us like 12 Snake Eyes.
I'm going to touch on this comment real quick. So Emily knows shit. I don't know if that means Emily doesn't know anything or Emily knows her shit. I'm not praising and I'm not chastising, but I will say that someone who was put in a position as the brand manager of an IP like G.I. Joe with so many years of history, you're literally drinking from a fire hose. So one way or the other, that's a hard ask. Like that is a steep hill to climb. So I'm not gonna kick somebody for that. So That's all I'm gonna say.
But again, that's 40 years of legacy brand knowledge that you have to learn. And like, I think she's putting her best foot forward. I mean, I don't know her. I don't, have an opinion about her one way or another.
Yeah, and it's because like I don't care. You know what I mean? Like I don't care.
I don't watch
if they're the ones running the 118 scale GI Joe as well. I kind of want to hit them with a cattle prod and be like, make more stuff. Do something.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing you could keep saying with it. It's like just do something. You have this brand, do something. You have social channels, do something.
Yeah.
Like why aren't you doing anything? When was the last time GI Joe posted? This is interesting to me. I gotta look.
I don't know, but apparently Pendragon says I'm a dinosaur. Your freaking name is Chad too. So, there you go.
So January 21st was their last post, right?
Mm.
And that was just about Selfie Series. Before that,
and that's only if you want to look like Sloth from the Goonies. Like that whole thing is just a bust.
Yeah, it's really expensive.
But if they would have rolled out something like those female Cobra Trooper Officer 2-packs or these new Steel Core 2-packs, something like that, where you see the Star Wars brand and it's like, hey, put your head on a Stormtrooper. Cool. Other brands, put your head onto this. And then G.I. Joe is like, put your head on Scarlet or Snake Eyes. And like, you're the weirdo in the corner. Like, those are actual characters with like real names and stuff. Like, why? They should have waited to do Army Builders for that.
Oh yeah.
Yes, George, it is an Executioner's hood. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it wasn't white and pointy. Like how? I'll never get that. Like,
yeah, let's be real though. Like Lorenzo Di Bonaventura is an idiot. He's an idiot. Like I understand that maybe he's one of those Hollywood types where he can get money and produce movies and whatever he does, but
it doesn't mean he should.
Because he doesn't know anything.
Like Michael Bay shouldn't have made those Transformers movies, in my opinion. I don't know. So,
all right, let's just talk about that now, since we're already kind of circling that drain, and then I'll come back around to a couple other points that we're passing up right now.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe movies, the live action films.
Terrible.
Terrible. Yeah, terrible. They sucked. I hate them.
No, but they weren't G.I. Joe movies.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Expand on that.
Okay. It was a bunch of guys in jumpsuits, or like what are they called? Leotards, basically, and with guns, and they fought Joseph Gordon-Levitt for some reason, who was a good guy, and then he wasn't. And Destro didn't have a silver head. No one of note was in it. Channing Tatum is not fucking Duke. I'm sorry. Channing Tatum isn't Duke.
So Jay Bartlett and I, we were discussing Batman 1989, and I just firebombed that movie for like 5 minutes straight. I was going on the same kind of tangent that you are, and I was like, Tim Burton doesn't know shit about Batman, and what the hell? And I was like, it's all freaks and weirdos and blah, blah, blah. But yes, so they fought Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who in a twist was his best friend, and then met Dr. Mindbender, and you didn't know he was Dr. Mindbender, and then he turned out to be Cobra Commander. But wait, he's Baroness's brother at the same time. And you're like, it's that whole simplicity thing. Like, you take something so simple like an elite group of military members from around the world to fight, this shadowy terrorist organization. Boop, done. And then you're like, wait a second, we could add some layers in it and it's going to create drama. No, it made it suck. Yeah.
Don't put layers in it. Take layers away. Just leave it as it. How goddamn hard is it, right? That you make a movie, the world's at peace, all of a sudden, like Cobra blows up the Super Bowl or does something crazy, and they got to get the gang back together. And G.I. Joe has to fight the terrorists, and now they got their funding back. Maybe they got defunded or some shit. Come on. How hard is it? You got terrorists and you got guys with guns who are good guys. Yeah. Everyone's got cool names.
My wife's here, so.
Oh, hello. Sorry. Yeah. Just ran about how shitty those G.I. Joe movies are.
And that's kind of the thing. So I don't really have issue with Channing Tatum. I'm a huge fan of the movie Megaforce, right? Brian Bostwick
love
or Barry Bostwick, right? Yeah. Megaforce, to me, it is the best G.I. Joe movie that was never made, right? So you got that elite clandestine force, and they all have to either be like missing in action, or they have to have them themselves declared dead. Mm-hmm. You know, they work for Scuff. They have all this future forward technology. You got all these guys from different parts around the world. Most of them are two-dimensional characters, except for a couple of them, right? And they work because that's just what they're there to do. And the thing with G.I. Joe, I don't have a problem with Channing Tatum. I have a problem with the way Duke was written.
Yeah.
And Channing Tatum hated that character so badly. He even said, that's not Duke. Like, it's not Duke. It's not a G.I. Joe movie, but he was contractually bound to do it. He tried to like get out of it 7 times, he said. And by the time he couldn't get out of it, he begged to die in retaliation within the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not trying to like, you know, pee on Channing Tatum's parade as playing Duke. It's just like, you know, like he's not Duke. Like, look at him. Duke's not like this, like, male stripper type guy. Duke's like kind of gruff. He's been around. He's a military guy.
Yeah, they did give a couple of nods though. They gave Duke the scar, right? That Hasbro gave the original G.I. Joe. They gave him the scar. They talk about the real life like hair and things like. There are some good Easter eggs written into the movie where you see that to some degree there was a level of understanding about the lore of G.I. Joe. But it's just the way that they put it to paper and then it kind of plopped out on screen. I think a lot of that is D. Bonaventura. Plus, you know the story of how the accelerator suits came to be?
I don't want to.
So, you sure you don't want to? Well, I'm gonna fucking tell you anyway, because now somebody is gonna be like, I want to know.
It's your show, man.
So the writer wrote a movie about these futuristic cops in these.
I heard this. Yes.
In these suits, right? And the suits enhance them. And they were like cybernetic, futuristic crime fighters, kind of like RoboCop, but not really like RoboCop. And he titled that script Accelerator. And then he took that little piece and he was like, this would work with G.I. Joe. And he just threw it out there.
Wait, isn't that the exact plot of Cops? The old Hasbro line? Do you remember?
Like fighting crime in a future time.
Yes, Cops.
I mean, yeah, kind of, but
they were like cybernetically enhanced and had cool suits.
Yeah. But and then Cornelius says that Channing Tatum could be Beachhead.
He could be Beachhead. That would be good. We should have it. I would love to fantasy cast these movies because I have very strong opinions about them.
Mm-hmm. And Dem Guts, I love it. Says we got some good figures through that movie though, and the Pursuit of Cobra. Yeah, Pursuit of Cobra line is freaking fantastic. And then Samuel says, I just ordered Megaforce on DVD. Do you mean like right now, like now after we had this conversation? Because that would be awesome. Because Megaforce is a shit. Rick, I got something to show you. You want to see it?
Usually when people say something like that, it's like, you know, yeah, you know what? What the hell? It's Thursday.
Come on. Look at me. Look at me. I'm non-threatening. You want to see it?
Yeah, let's see it.
All right.
If he comes back wearing like a bathrobe, I swear to God, I'm leaving.
No, I'm not in my bathrobe. You're gonna have to forgive me because the antenna just fell off when I yanked it off the shelf. But that's a 4-inch scale Delta Mark IV right there.
Wow, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's all right.
I just figured I'd share that with you because you share my love of Megaforce, which
absolutely. Oh my God, dude. Megaforce, I've owned that movie for so long.
Yeah.
I am so into like the 80s action movies. Like, and I'm not talking like Lethal Weapon and Die Hard. I'm talking like if Billy Drago's the bad guy or if Yaphet Kotto's in it, sign me up. Steve James, Dudikoff, all those idiots. Yes,
So
please.
my argument about that stupid ass Snake Eyes movie that they did, that they should have learned never make an origin movie after what happened to the Wolverine origin movie. But my argument about Snake Eyes was that you could have switched out Henry Golding and Michael Dudikoff, and you could have called it American Ninja in Tokyo, and I bet you it would have made more money.
Oh wow, it really was like American. It was kind of like American Ninja 3.
I'm just saying, if you put a Dudikoff cameo in there and maybe like just something, you could have been like, oh no, it's not Snake Eyes, it's American Ninja in Tokyo.
Yeah,
I bet you it'd have made more than $20 freaking million.
Man, I really wanted that movie to be good. It wasn't.
Snake Eyes?
Yeah, I didn't like
I'll
it.
tell you what, my wife and I went to see some freaking movie, and we were walking out of the theater and walked past that teaser poster for Snake Eyes where he's holding the mask, and I paused and I looked at it and I was like, they're making that a friggin' motorcycle helmet. And she was like, do you think so? And I'm like, look at it. It's a motorcycle helmet. And then when you don't see him in that suit until the very end, and you're like, first of all, fuck you for that. And second of all, I told you it was a motorcycle helmet. I knew it. Yeah.
And third, like,
rough.
dude, I was out within like 10 seconds because the first time you see Snake Eyes, he's not in his iconic Snake Eyes suit that makes him goddamn Snake Eyes. He's just some guy.
Well, the first time I had a lot of Batman and Robin, like horrific flashbacks when you see this little kid walking with his dad. He's like, is there a safe in the cabin? Because I heard you on the phone and you said you were at the safe house. I was like, oh God, it's one of those poorly written movies. Get me out of here. It was bad. It was bad.
Dude, those movies are so bad. And you know what? I don't know if you said to bring this up or not, but I'm going to bring it up because you're wearing a Finest shirt. I really like the work you guys do, no matter what Bobby says.
I actually, so thank you for bringing that point up. So
sorry, Bobby.
I wore this shirt tonight because you're making the rounds on the circuit, and you and I talked about you coming on my show parallel to you talking with Ryan about going on 3POA. And some people may or may not have seen this. I titled this show, I put it in StreamYard, I sent you the thumbnail, and then I saw his and I was like, dude, you picked the same freaking title as me, and I sent it to him. And he was like, I'll change it, which was really cool of Ryan. So thank you, Ryan. And I actually told Ryan he didn't need to change it, but he's a gentleman and a scholar, and I appreciate that. However, pause for dramatic effect. While you were talking to them last night, and I didn't see it until this morning on replay, you were saying, like, you could have just got members of the Finest to play like the Cobra Troopers and the background characters. And Bobby was like, absolutely not. Like, he was like, no. And I was like, wait a second, I'm a member of the Finest. I was like, you know what? When Rick comes on, I'm going to wear my fucking Finest
Please
shirt.
do. Yeah, Bobby got all hot, started yelling in that solid gold microphone. Shit, man.
Yeah, it was awesome though. Not talking shit, having fun. That was fun. I enjoyed it. But just to kind of like poke the bear a little bit, I was like, I'm gonna wear my Finest shirt. I'm gonna do it.
I'm glad our conversation's different. And I wore a different shirt too, because I didn't want people to think we filmed them in the same day. That would be weird.
You were like sleep. You just got up and you're like, I guess I'll do this other show now. Yeah.
Well, it's fun because I don't know. I was like overtired on 3POA. So I think I swore like every other word because when I get nervous and I'm tired, I just swear. I don't know if it's fucking Tourette's or if I'm just an idiot, but either way. So I had my Bret Hart shirt on when I should have worn my CM Punk shirt, but got my wires crossed.
It's all totally good.
What's going on here in the chat? Bobby can't say that.
Oh, I'm just looking at comments. Hey, I'm not even gonna read that. I'm just gonna ignore that because anybody else can see it. I'm not gonna highlight it because like Tony's a friend, and yeah, it is what it is. Whatever. And then a lot of people are saying Snake Eyes Commando first, Ninja second. Well, yeah, even in '85 he was still Commando. It didn't say Ninja on his card.
Yeah,
he didn't really become a ninja until later. So Transformers movies. I know you were kind of, you were like the Hasbro social guy, and you did a lot with Transformers. And your cat is canon. for Transformers, and I kind of want you to touch on that. But
okay, he's Starscream's cat, technically.
Yep. So, do you want to expand on that for anybody who cares?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
I don't know. Well, so when we first started doing social for Transformers, it used to be like super like push, like it used to be like what it is now, like just push products, and every now and then like here's a really tone deaf meme that makes absolutely no fucking sense that, you know, it seems like some 60-year-old guy wrote in a cave. And we were like, oh God, we can do better. And they're like, well, you know, you can do anything, just don't make lore. And, you know, initially I was like, well, I'm gonna make fucking lore. So we started slow, where every now and then, like, you know, my cat's a micro influencer, which is a weird thing to say.
Okay.
Whatever. It just means he gets like free shit once in a while, and I like take pictures of it. But anyway,
that's cool.
I started putting pictures of him into
my cats are shit bags. They don't do anything. They just hang out. Well, anyway, sorry, go ahead. Start taking pictures.
Yeah, so I started sneaking pictures of my cat into like the dioramas we had around for like, because we were trying to like they had a series that they wanted us to do called Transformers in Real Life. So if you saw like, you know, there was one where like Megatron like shot the TV for like a Super Bowl thing, and whatever. Right. It's, you know, it's safe humor that we were allowed to do, but started sneaking the cat in, and what we were told, you know, if it's on TF Wiki for the most part, because the fans are like really ravenous, then it's canon. So a friend of mine messaged me like at work and like sent me like an email thread, and they're like, your cat has more pages than Optimus Prime right now. I was like, what? And I looked, and it was like there was one page for cats, and then there was one page for Meowgatron, and Optimus Prime had one, and I'm like, holy shit. So I started messaging people, and I was like, hey, can we get like can we get an SDCC 2-pack with Starscream and my cat? And like certain people were like, we should do that. Like we should, but it never went anywhere or anything. But I just thought it was really funny. And that was all because of the Transformers fans. They literally wrote up pages about our social posts and nonsense. And it was cool to know that, you know, people liked it. And
that's pretty cool.
Starscream always seemed like a cat guy to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about him where like, I'm a cat guy. What the hell? You know, but like, I always liked Starscream, so I kind of personify him, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck, you know? What's his face had that dog? I can't think of who it was. Some Transformer. He had a dog, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not much of a Like I know Transformers, but I don't know Transformers.
Yeah.
So enthusiasm over expertise.
Yeah. Oh, and I just know that the movies were not Transformers. I do know that because.
And then Pendragon says Starscream is a full-on cat lady.
Absolutely. It makes sense. Like when it's weird to say, but like it kind of makes sense when you're like, look at Starscream's persona and then like any crazy cat people, you know, there's a lot of overlap there. You know, we were trying to hit the hard issues.
Yeah. And that's why, Lilith, I don't allow 2 of my cats in my Joe room. So the Transformers movies. You were still at Hasbro when those were still rolling, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, technically, they're still making them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been gone since last January, but yeah. I mean, like we had like Bumblebee parked outside for a while, and they would leave him outside. Like I'm referring to him like it's a person. It's a car. You know, whatever car Bumblebee was, it was parked outside.
In the elements, just exposed.
Piles of snow on it. You're walking by, it's like parked in like 2 handicap spots. You're like, it's fucking Bumblebee. What is happening? It's so like indicative of just like how I view their view towards like their brands, and then their view towards profit. Like that car that means something to so many people isn't making them a dime. So fuck it. Park it in 2 handicap spots and let snow cover it. You know,
just let the elements ravage it.
Yeah, why not?
So they actually filmed a good deal of that first Transformers, especially because you were talking about Bumblebee and being in the elements, and I'm like, that whole chase fight scene with him and what was it, Barricade, right? Through that abandoned kind of That was at the old Santa Fe Railroad station
That's
downtown.
awesome. Yeah, I couldn't tell you who it was because I couldn't tell any of them apart because they
I
just
believe
looked
it.
like pistons stuck together.
Yeah, they look like some kind of steampunk thing. And why do you have a mouth? What was going on there?
Right.
Some of them had mouths, but Optimus with lips was kind of weird.
Optimus Prime with lips is just the weirdest goddamn thing.
Yeah, that I will say one thing though. If they hadn't gotten Peter Cullen, I don't think that movie would have gone as well as it did.
Oh no!
Like you had to have Peter Cullen.
Yeah, you can't just show whatever that robot was and then have like me voice it. People would be like, "Get the fuck out!" No, like, but at least they got Peter to like provide some credibility. But at the same time, it's like, man, like I wish he said no. You know what I mean? Like I wish he was like, "That's not Optimus Prime," like something like that, and just turn him down.
It's kind of like when they did that A-Team movie with Liam Neeson, and I actually really liked that movie. I thought it was well done. I thought the story was good. I enjoyed it. I was like, well, they had Rampage Jackson. I was like, I bet you if they had Mr. T, it might have gone over. They may have had a little more fan credibility, kind of like the Transformers did with Peter Cullen, but we'll never know because they'll never make a second one.
Yeah, I liked the A-Team as well. But yeah, I like bad movies. I like really bad movies and really good movies. I don't like anything in the middle.
Yeah, fair enough. Where you watch something, you're like, yeah, it was okay, but it wasn't like an awesome shitty movie.
Right. Like, give me awesome shitty movies all day. Like, give me Invasion USA. Give me fucking anything with Chuck Norris pre-1993.
Hey, Delta Force is a solid movie.
Delta Force 2 is a solid movie, my friend.
Yeah. That's Missing in Action 2. That's a good movie.
Missing in Action 2 is incredible. All the Missing in Action movies are incredible.
Yeah, and then Will says Optimus with lips is like Schumacher Batman with nipples.
They should combine the two. Someone should, Jeremy, there's your meme. Make Optimus Prime with nipples and lips in a Batman suit. just put a big fucking ribbon on it. There it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Lawrence says the A-Team flying tank was awesome. Yeah, because that's something the A-Team would do. Yeah, they're flying a tank.
Yep. Honestly, the Fast and the Furious movies are better G.I. Joe movies than the G.I. Joe movies. At least they're doing stuff with the government, you know?
Yeah. Brandon's asking what's with my classified guys hand molds. I don't know. I don't put my hands on those fucking things. So are they messed up? I'm sorry if they are. Anyway, hi, welcome. Thanks for being here, Brandon. So Hasbro, you kind of touched on it. How do they deal with feedback from customers? Do they even deal with it? Do they listen to it? Like, how do they?
I have no idea.
None.
About like, oh, like you mean like consumer complaints department or like? Oh, I have no idea. I've no idea.
Just like with the brand. So like when you dealt with the G.I. Joe social channel and the Transformer stuff, like customers.
Oh, I mean, yeah, like in those certain instances, like the community managers would just put canned responses, which is the absolute worst thing you should do. Jesus Christ. Yeah, just canned responses like, oh, hey, like basically like, fuck you. We're not going to read this or help you in any way. It's like, really? But I just know like from the inside, you know, like, I mean, I was mouthy. I'm just that by nature. And, you know, I kept trying to say like when all the Target bullshit was happening, remember with like when Classified came out and all the army builders were exclusives and no one could get them.
That Cobra Island Viper that no one could find.
Yeah. And then like PulseCon happened and I'm writing PulseCon and I get to the G.I. Joe part and I'm like, I'm seeing all the Target exclusives on Joe and Star Wars. And I like flagged it like to the producers and I was like, guys, like if you know, like, because it said like basically Target logo appear. I'm like, if you announce these figures that everyone wants, and then you slap a Target logo on during the middle of all this shit, it would be so bad and tone deaf. And then they did it, and it was completely bad and tone deaf, and everyone got even more pissed.
Yeah. I mean, do they just not consider it? Do they? I mean, it's just like, well, whatever. Customers, consumers, just. I mean, what's the kind of?
All I can say is this: like, so working in the quasi entertainment side of things, like for that company, it was you have a lot of people there who really give a shit.
Mhm.
Most of them aren't there anymore, unfortunately, because of all the layoffs. And a lot of the people who give a shit are completely demoralized right now, again, because of the mass layoffs and also like the chaotic order of things. But you get a lot of, you know, people who care and are actively trying to make a difference, and their voices, it's just like yelling into a fucking volcano, like,
Because you're never going to be the loudest voice in that room,
no, because the people who care don't have any power.
right?
And the people with like the power and like, the people like 10 times out of your pay grade are so disconnected from what's happening and have people under them who don't know what the goddamn hell they're doing. And then you have the actual workforce who's trying to do stuff, and they're the people that they kick out and they keep promoting, like, just these dipshits who keep rising through the ranks while like every layoff you're losing years upon years of legacy brand knowledge, and that sucks. And it's going to get to a point where you're going to lose all that legacy brand knowledge as the brand, and the people who are going to know it better are the fans. And you never want to be in that situation. If we know the brand better than the brand, what the fuck?
I I would actually I would frame the argument that it's already like that now.
Yeah, I mean it is, but it's just getting worse.
I am never one to be what's called a spotlight ranger. You know what I mean? Where I want the spotlight on me, even though my name is fucking Chad, right? And I have a YouTube channel, right? Because I got to be extra. But
well, yeah,
I will fucking guarantee you right now, I know more than Lenny and Emily about GI Joe. Guarantee you.
I mean, I've never done a quiz bowl with either of them, but what I can say,
I don't give a shit. I'll guarantee I do.
So, what I can say is, I know a lot of shit about GI Joe, but there was a while where myself and probably two other people were the internal GI Joe resources, at least like from a non action figure perspective, so more like the outfacing and everything like that. Valaverse does do a way better job too, because Bobby gives a shit. That's why you can tell in the products, and you can tell in the attitude. And I can't speak for him, but if Bobby comes off like kind of salty, it's because he's a salty guy.
Yeah, but
he makes incredible shit, and he actually
I don't give a crap about that. Like, in my given profession, I have a phrase that I use all the time, and I use it to seniors, peers, and subordinates alike, where I tell them, like, I'm required to be professional. I'm not required to be nice.
Yeah.
Like, nowhere in any Army regulation does it say that I have to be nice to you. Like, I have to be professional, and that's it.
And also,
there's limits to that professionalism. So I don't ever fault somebody for being salty or sure of themselves or telling people what's up. So I don't give a shit about that.
I'm sure like people are gonna fucking blast this and be like, oh, they're knocking Hasbro and touting up Valaverse. It's like I knock
Hasbro all the time.
Yeah, and I kind of am, because Hasbro doesn't give a shit about you. And what other fucking toy company can you buy stuff from where the fucking CEO actually answers your questions? Like, Bobby's fucking hands-on. Like,
the GI Joe brand and Hasbro Pulse, like when they posted that shit about Valentine's Day and nothing spells LOVE, love, like buying toys after we laid off all these people, and they were getting fucking ruined in the comments. They just turned it all off.
I know, and
I'm surprised they didn't even delete the post, but they were like, well, we want money, so we want to leave the post up. Just shit can all the comments.
I forgot it was either during, well, I think it was both. I think it was the first PulseCon, but also what's that bullshit money grab they do now after PulseCon? It happens like a Tuesday later, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's called
the fan first shit or whatever.
Not Fan First Friday.
I don't know. Somebody in the comments probably knows.
Yeah.
I don't keep track of that crap. So.
But anyway, like whatever the fuck that is, it's like that just like really summarizes the attitude. Like you just had this convention around brands, which is great, and people are shelling out their hard-earned money to buy your products. And now
but they're not gonna fucking see for 18 months.
And now 3 days later, you're having another one. Like, there's a reason that the Royal Rumble isn't the day before WrestleMania. You space it out, man. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, and that's kind of the thing. And I know that I don't get the whole tone. So you kind of touched on it, you know, they have one and then they have another one. But like when they finally said like, oh, okay, well, classified Storm Shadow, not that Arctic Mission Ninja Force shit, but like Storm Shadow is coming out. Here's Storm Shadow. And they, you know, they updated him a little bit. They gave him like archery gauntlets. And I was like, all right, yeah, cool. Whatever. He's got gloves and like beefy gauntlets. That's cool. Whatever. It's still Storm Shadow. I'm not going to buy this shit anyway. So it's all academic for me. Yeah.
I love all the classified figures. I think they've done.
And then everybody pre-orders that. And then immediately they're like, oh, but wait, here comes Retro Storm Shadow. And it's like, just wait until people at least get it in their fucking grubby hands before you announce the next one. Like, just...
I'll never forget.
Calm it down a little bit.
Snake Eyes and Timber 2-pack. I was still working there, right? So I order it, and then like,
which one?
Dude, this is where I'm going with this. So
okay.
So I order the first one, and then it doesn't come in for God knows how long. By the time I get it, they've already announced another Snake Eyes and Timber 2-pack, and I'm like, why are you gonna army build with Snake Eyes? Like,
well, and then that second one that they did, they repainted Timber. They took the Shemog from the fucking Stalker figure and they just chucked it on the Snake Eyes, and they're like, "Here's another one," and I'm like, "Just get out with that shit,
dude." It's like that Simpsons episode where Lisa redesigns the Malibu Stacy doll and then makes like this incredible fucking doll that's like great for kids and everything, and they're like, it's new Malibu Stacy. It's like, yeah, but it's the same piece of shit it's always been. Yeah, but she's got a new hat.
Yeah,
that's literally what they fucking keep doing.
And then, you know, this whole thing with these PulseCon or whatever with these influencers.
Oh, gross.
I call them like fake hype guys because, you know, I don't know what a freaking influencer. I'm almost 50. Like influencer is like a word that like 20 somethings use.
Yeah.
So I see this dude, right? And I was actually on with Ryan and Jeremy, and we were talking about that stuff, and we were calling him Diet Nick Cannon, the guy who did the last Pulse.
Oh,
the one who was freaking screaming all the time.
Yeah, the guy he was like, I think it was the kid from Holes. Like,
yeah, the kid actor. Yeah, and then he's like, he's trying to hype shit up, and he can't even say Serpentor, and like his buddy over there, the DJ guy, and they're both like, yo, man, yo, look at my selfie series, yo, and it looks nothing like them to begin with, and he's like, oh, I got one too. Oh, look at mine. Oh, look at mine. And then they did this thing where before that PulseCon, they tagged them in a post about like, oh, we got these guys, and they're like, well, super hype dudes, and they're gonna be like running PulseCon. I was like, oh, okay, curiosity, right? So I clicked on one of them. I scroll through all his shit, not a single fucking toy.
Yep.
Then I click on the other one. I'm like, not a single toy, and I'm like, what do I want to listen to you about toys for?
There were some like, real dummies running the show over there.
And then that's the thing. So like, who's your target audience? If you don't give a shit about customer or consumer feedback about your lines, right? Your IPs, the health of your brands, and you've priced kids out of toys, you have no more world building, no more media. Like G.I. Joe has no media. Your world building is dead by design because it's figure only lines now. And that's how you fucking want it because you're lazy and you just want money. And then you're only marketing to adult collectors like our age. Mm-hmm. But then you have these fucking, but they're not at the same time because they have these fucking influencers like screaming at people. It's like I'm watching Rick and Morty with my teenager. Like, why is everyone yelling? So, like, stop yelling. Just show me fucking toys. Like, why are you screaming?
Yeah. There were so many times where I would literally like stop during a meeting and I'd be like, everyone, look at me. You're selling to me. I'm your target audience. 40-ish from the 80s, like employed, some disposable income, has incredible nostalgia for these brands we love. I'm your target audience. You know who doesn't give a shit? Little kids when they see a Snake Eyes mask because they don't know who the fuck Snake Eyes is because there's no entertainment tied to it.
And your fucking movie bombed, by the way.
And your movie sucked.
You didn't even market that to kids. Yeah,
no,
you didn't market that to kids.
No, that's
like
it's
Renegades. So... Sure, Resolute. Yeah, that movie. Fuck no.
Well, but those were made with Hasbro Studios.
Yeah.
Back when there was the hub, and Hasbro Studios did a fucking great job. They did an amazing job because he's an influencer.
Yeah,
that's not. We just covered this.
Because I'm a Chad. I don't know. Is that a trick question? I don't understand the whole. It's like they're stuck in this cyclical process of like self-fulfilling destruction, where they're like, well, kids don't buy toys anymore. Well, but you priced them out of it. You don't have anything to accompany the toys to get kids interested in. You're relying on adult collectors, so you jack the prices up because you only have adult collectors buying your toys, and then turn around and bitch that kids don't buy toys anymore again. And then at the same time, you're trying to piss off your adult collectors, and then you want to put brands to rest, right? You want to put them on a rest.
How it very much came off to me was we're marketing to. Well, no, because you can't market to kids, like legally. You can't, right? So no one ever said that. I'm not trying to say people were like trying to get around shit. But basically, like everything.
Yeah, we're not selling Camel cigarettes to freaking 8-year-olds.
Right. But like everything seemed very kid focused, even though they're not buying toys. So we would scream till we were blue in the face. You have to market to your audience. Embrace the nostalgia. Embrace all this shit. Talk to the fucking fans. Do some shit with the finest. Fuck. Give an olive branch to the goddamn bronies because they're fucking spending all sorts of money, and instead you just pretend they don't exist because you think they're weird. Well, you know what? Like, whatever. But they're spending money. Like, if people are buying your stuff, don't you want to be nice to them? Like,
yeah.
If I ran a taco shop and, every time you came in, you're like, hey, Rick, I'll take 2 tacos. And I just go, hey, suck my dick. Like, you probably wouldn't come back.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing without the profanity.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. I just, I just don't see it. It's like, making toys it's not hard. Like just make toys.
Well, I don't know anything about that. I mean,
well, it's even the same thing with like all the social media stuff, right? And the that digital content, right? It's still content. It still goes along with it. Like it's all part of that same, either solution or challenge. Either you're helping brands or you're not.
Yeah, it never made sense to me. There would be so many opportunities where I wanted to do content for G.I. Joe. I'm like, hey, I have bandwidth. I've literally nothing going on right now. So here, it wasn't like in physical form, but it was like, here's literally 80 posts for the G.I. Joe channel. Can we use them? And as far as I know, they're still rotting in a computer somewhere because they don't fucking do anything with Joe. They don't do anything with any of the cool brands. And when they do, it sucks.
Why? Like, where's the hesitation? Like,
well, the reason
is
with
them doing stuff for Joe.
They do exploit our nostalgia. I called it's hostage nostalgia.
I was going to ask you about that. So yeah, you coined the term hostage nostalgia.
I accidentally coined it, and the thing is, it's Hasbro is holding your childhood memories and nostalgia hostage because they know you love their brands, and they know that you will continue to buy their stuff because of your love for the brands. And that just means that they can increase prices, they can change the packaging, they can change the fucking characters, they can cut out accessories and all these other little things that everyone, like, you know, little pain points for all sorts of different collectors, both in box and open box. They can keep doing that because they own your nostalgia and they're holding it for fucking ransom. They're doing the same thing with Dungeons and Dragons right now. And the reason, like, I've been quiet as shit since I got laid off, but like, I mean, last week was all the OGL shit with Dungeons and Dragons. I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since 1984, and you know, fucking G.I. Joe's the reason I became a writer. Like, honestly, like, I loved that show. I love those figures. I would tell stories with the figures. When people came over and they would like hit the guys together, they were never allowed to touch my figures again because you have to do every motion and shit like that. Like,
yeah.
So like those brands mean something to me. And what people don't realize is this isn't an ex-employee shitting on Hasbro. This is an ex-employee who's fucking mad because they're ruining brands that I love, that I and hundreds of other people actively fought to make better because we are fans.
Yep.
And we're always the first ones to get cut. And that doesn't make sense, especially when you have that bullshit motto from Hasbro Pulse, we're fans too. The fuck you are.
Where fans come first. Get out of my face with that.
No, there are really good people on that team, I think. I think they're still there, hopefully. And they give a shit. But again, they're people who don't have a say because their bosses are goddamn idiots and, you know, can't run a bath, let alone a brand.
It really sucks because it's a company whose stuff I love. And yeah, you're right, hostage nostalgia. But see, there are the people where it is hostage nostalgia where they see like a brand or an IP or a logo and they're like, I just want it. I want it because it's what I know. I bought 2 of those HasLab Sky Strikers because I was stuck in this mindset that if I didn't buy it, I wouldn't contribute to it succeeding. Therefore, I was contributing to it failing, and they wouldn't make any more 1/18 scale Joe stuff moving forward. And so I'm like, I got to buy it. Then I got 2 of them. The one that I opened is all fucked up. And then I'm like, great, I shouldn't have done that. But I focus from 1982 to 2019. So I don't look at any of the newer stuff. Like, yeah, that Stinger came out, whatever. I got one. It is what it is. But out of all the G.I. Joe stuff that they're producing right now, and I mean, let's be honest, it's all, you know, mold reuses and repaints and shit, you know, wash, rinse, repeat. I don't buy any of that crap. And Will's got a good point. Hasbro could literally restart the line from 82 to 94, redo every figure and vehicle in a modern style and make money hand over fist. Yep. Even when they launch classified, I've had this discussion with other people numerous times. Like, you could have done like your redesigned Duke, your redesigned Scarlet. You know how they were kind of like coming out with that new aesthetic, the new aesthetic for Roadblock. That was kind of like a version 2 Roadblock homage, like a wink. You could have done that. And then in the same wave, you could have put in like a Colonel Hawk and a Breaker or a Grunt and a Stalker. Like, they didn't come out with Stalker until fucking wave 8. And I'm like, what the hell is the matter with you? He was Hawk's second in command.
I know. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, I mean, like, that is such a good point. Like, you don't need to reinvent the wheel.
No, you don't. And the other thing is, how do you have
40 years?
Yeah, and how do you have pre-orders that sell out? How does a pre-order sell out?
I don't know.
I never understood that. I'm like, pre-order means they get a number based off of interest.
It's expectation.
And you have to make this many before you make the rest for the stores. It's like, it shouldn't matter if it's like 10,000 or 2,000, like pre-order window. Why can't Hasbro do fucking pre-order windows? They'll do windows when it comes to HasLabs because they want that fucking interest. But for everything else, it's like, oh, it's sold out. And then, Rick, I got to tell you, so you did a lot of like the content, the digital media stuff. When you get the GI Joe team, and I don't need to say their names, right? Batman and Robin, because everybody knows who they are, right? Lenny and Squiggy. And they're standing there, and one's like this, looking through the phone, and then the other one says, well, we were going to announce the pre-orders for this thing, but the pre-orders went live an hour before this stream, and they're already sold out. You remember that for the Blue Ninja 2-pack? And I was like, who the shit is running your show over there?
Dude, here's what I never understood. Like, and I never will. And you could get one of the smartest people in the world to explain it to me, and it still won't make fucking sense. Why the hell do you have to put limits on how many things people want to buy in a pre-order? If I want 20 Cobra Troopers, you're telling me I can only have 2?
Yeah.
Like, I want to give you money for 20, and other people do too, and you're going to say no.
Yeah.
Why?
So, real quick, let me touch on this. So George Aiken, he's a huge Action Force collector from the UK. He's a really cool dude. He says G.I. Joe Retro line, the only thing good out of that was a Hiss tank. The figures got gradually worse with the quality. And that goes directly to what you were saying, Rick, about hostage nostalgia, where when they came out with that retro line for Walmart, it was reuses of the 50th anniversary. They did the Snake Eyes and the Storm Shadow, and like it's that diaper baby Storm Shadow from the 50th anniversary on a version 1 card. And then it's the visor Snake Eyes on a version 1 card. And the insult to injury on that is that Snake Eyes that was in the 50th anniversary had both heads. And that was very much like you're saying, they're just like, well, they're going to buy it. So just fucking get it out there. They'll buy it. They'll just buy it. That's that bullshit right there.
It's very similar to, I got to use another reference, like in South Park, you know, when they're like, fuck you, you'll see it anyway. It's like, fuck you, you're going to buy it regardless. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we were on some other point, and then I got sidetracked. I really needed to read George Aiken's comment.
That's okay. I'm ranty anyway. So.
And that's totally fine, because you're saying a lot of stuff that I already say, and I mean you worked at the fucking company, so you actually make me feel like I'm not as crazy as I feel like.
No, it is. It's
because I feel like Zoolander, right? You know, where Mugatu's like, they're all the same look. I feel like I'm on crazy pills. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm crazy pills because, like you just said, the company says, well, we can't make as many as we used to because toys don't sell like they used to. And I'm like, but you limit people's availability to buy army builders at large quantities. You intentionally say, well, on one hand, they're like, well, toys don't sell like they used to. And then on the other hand, you're like, but we just don't make as many. It's like, I bet you if you made more, you'd fucking sell more. That's probably how that works, right?
Or just,
I've always made the argument. So they do these Battle Android Troopers, right? So now they got the 6-inch mold for the Battle Android Trooper, which I think the mold looks gorgeous. I won't lie. And I love bats. I custom 4-inch bats all day. I have like 100 of them.
Oh, shit.
Probably not that many. I haven't counted, but you could make a Battle Android Trooper army builders, right? Not this bullshit where they make Mindbender and Serpentor mainline characters where they make them exclusives and piss people off. Like, why would you do that? You want people to buy into your FOMO and get all your shit, but then you make it almost impossible. Cobra Viper, right? Cobra Island Viper. You make it almost impossible for them to buy mainline figures because you made Serpentor. Now, granted, they fixed that. I will say they rectified that and they re-released them, but
their distribution's gotten a lot better. It's not good.
No, it's not good. No. But you could have made that San Diego Comic-Con exclusive like a Battle Android Trooper 5-pack. You could have done an Inferno Bat and a Nano Bat, a Constructicon Bat. You could have done the freaking the woodland camouflage, the Arctic camouflage, like all the different versions of the bats that they came out with in the modern 4-inch stuff. You could have made like a 5-pack of Battle Android Troopers as an exclusive. Oh, that shit would have gone gangbusters. But instead, Serpentor. Piss people off.
I mean, they could do a lot of shit. Like, I don't understand why you don't release army builders. Like, just, I mean, come on, it's the same fucking company. Just rip off the Marvel Legends model. You know, like when they released all those Hydra Troopers, they're like, oh, they're $15. It's like, great. And then people could buy them. Do that with Cobra Troopers. What the hell?
Yeah.
People want them. Don't just throw in less accessories on those. Let people army build.
Photo Viper says kind of what you were talking about. I hear many collectors say we have to support the line if we don't like the product, or they'll never make what we want.
They're not going to make what you want anyway. I hate to
say. But see, that's the thing with classified. People were like, "Oh well, but they're going to make the real American hero versions of those characters later. Just buy these, and they'll make those characters later." Yeah. Like, and you kind of saw it with the Tiger Force shit. Now, yeah, they're smart. They're like, well, if we put the Tiger Force figures out now, people will buy them, and then we'll just repaint them to the OG versions later, which I think is a little shady. I also don't believe that Tiger Force and Python Patrol should exist without their vehicles, because that's why they exist.
Yeah.
Whatever. It just kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
And
that's
what?
Yeah. No, that comment that popped up. It was, like,
was it this one?
Yeah. That's all they'll serve.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, not only the shit sandwich, but the Ford Pinto, right? That's, I mean, historically, the Ford Pinto, they were like, if people didn't complain about those things catching on fire when they got rear-ended, they probably wouldn't have fixed that. Now, granted, that's a safety issue, but it's still the same principle. And then Brandon says, digital media, Hasbro totally missed the mark on digital content. I can give you 5 good digital tie-ins on a G.I. Joe line off the top of my head, and I don't design toys for a living.
We tried, man. Honestly. We tried fighting the good fight. And if they don't care about a brand, or they don't get a brand, it just doesn't get all the bells and whistles. And it's like, why bring it back with like a $30 price tag per figure? And why tell someone no? You can't make content for this. What's the harm in giving stuff to fans? That's in a digital sense on a channel they follow. What's the harm? You know?
No.
Oh, damn.
He wants me to send him a custom 4-inch back.
I was actually going to ask too, but you already know that guy. So,
yeah, Pendragon, what do you want, man? Tell me what kind of 4-inch Battle Android Trooper you want. I'll send you one. So the digital media stuff, why can't they do it? And maybe this was your lane, and maybe it wasn't. Maybe you heard conversations like, why can't they do Joe cartoons anymore?
I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know anything about that side of things. I don't even know who. It's like
nobody. The answer is nobody.
Yeah, I mean, the hub's not around anymore. If that was, maybe that would have helped. But I mean, what does Hasbro Studios really do? They do like what, the Transformers movie, and then Battleship. Jesus Christ.
Battleship. Oh, I forgot about Battleship.
Yeah. I hope they make Scrabble next. Just be 2 people sitting around like playing fucking Scrabble, and they charge you like $50 to get in.
Yeah, they'll turn it into like some teenage angst movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like this teenage angst kid who doesn't like to talk because of some horrific experience. Only talks through Scrabble.
Opens up in Scrabble. For some reason, Channing Tatum's there dressed as Duke.
Yeah, hire me. I'll write that movie for you. We'll get Lorenzo Di Bonaventura, and he'll say no hoods on anybody. It'll be
bring back Henry
awesome.
Golden. We'll make our own expanded universe: Scrabble and G.I. Joe.
What was so wrong with it just escaped me, and it shouldn't have, because that's my nerd card. The guy who played Snake Eyes in the first 2 movies, Darth Maul. It's escaping me.
Ray
Park.
Ray Park. Who's Ray Fisher?
Ray Park was perfect. What was wrong with that?
He was great. Yeah, I mean, oh man, yeah, we need someone better than Darth Maul. That guy was incredible.
Yeah, Ray Park was fantastic. Anywho, well, Rick, I thank you for hanging out with me tonight and talking some G.I. Joe. We mostly talk G.I. Joe. We didn't really talk like, Hasbro is like the most evil company in the world. I do think that they're really trying to compete with Electronic Arts for worst company here and there.
I mean,
like they're making some EA type decisions around there.
Oh, dude, yeah, they're really giving like WWE and Disney a run for their money right now, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, they really are. I really kind of saw the writing on the wall, and I've said it before, and you and I talked about it backstage. Yeah, Ray Fisher was Cyborg. Yeah, thank you. I said it backstage that I'm still waiting for them to take G.I. Joe to a pulse only thing. And I know that people are like, oh, that'll never happen because this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, maybe Target has an exclusive deal with them, but it doesn't mean they can take it from everybody else. But I mean, look what they did to the EU and the UK. Pulse only, right? And they just made that decision like this. Bip.
Yeah. And oh man. I mean,
that's the entire European Union, and they're like, oh, you can only buy this stuff online.
I know. Dude, I don't get it. You know? Yeah. I could tell. And here's the thing, like, I can tell you Hasbro stories till I'm blue in the face, but you know, like, some people understand and some people are still gonna be like, they're wonderful, they care, and we love everything they do. There's nothing you can do about that. People can call me whatever the fuck they want, but I'm just telling like stories from my perspective and what's happened to myself, my friends, and people I give a shit about in real life. That, you know, and not more importantly, but equally as importantly, like fucking brands that I care about, you know, going in the damn toilet because you keep letting the fans get laid off. Like,
yeah, you know? and then like you say that, you know, your profits are down, but you're decreasing production. I'm demand for toys has been going up. Like there was just a big article a couple months ago about like demand for action figures, like boys toys products is going up, but then their production's going down, and then they're like, oh, what? And it's not just Hasbro, it's Mattel too. And then you put out starting lineup, you re-release starting lineup when you're already talking about how you're tight on money. It's like, what brand paid for those fucking molds? Was it your HasLab projects? Like, is it a Ponzi scheme? Because my wife, like, she's into all this shit too, and she's like, their deal's kind of a Ponzi scheme. Like, they're taking money from this IP to pay for that IP. Like, if all your cards are 5 language cards, who in countries that speak those other 4 languages give a shit about some of these off the wall fucking basketball players? Probably not a lot of people.
Yeah.
And what about this brand? Can we do something with Mask?
Oh, Mask would have been great.
Right? They come out with starting lineup, but they're like, nah, fuck Mask. Let it sit.
Dude, they came out with starting lineup, right?
Starting lineup.
Like, okay. Talk about not reading the room. You know,
walk me through that decision process.
I don't know. Yeah, please, like, educate me why people want to buy basketball player figures and you're going to announce it like a Pulse event. How does that make goddamn sense? Like, you have Visionaries, you have Mask, you have Battle Beasts, for fuck's sakes, and you're not going to do anything with any of those. But
and Battle Beast is part of Transformers now. I mean, it kind of always has been, but
what?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
Get out. Battle Beast?
Yeah.
Are we talking about
Battle Beast is part of Transformers.
What? The little guys? They're all animals and they wear like the shit?
Part of Transformers.
What? No.
Yeah.
Get out. Really?
Yes. Telling you. Google it.
I'm gonna Google this as soon
as Ask Jay Bartlett, because they did a whole thing about Battle Beasts. Yeah.
No shit.
Battle Beast is part of Transformers lore. Mm-hmm. That's why they rocketed in price in the aftermarket.
Wow. I had no idea. I love Battle Beast.
Why can't you bring back Mask in a 4-inch scale? You know, like you're going to do starting lineup 6-inch, and they got those fucking eye cancer hinge pins. Like, they can't get away from those pins. And I'll tell you, Rick, like, all of these 6-inch lines, and I know you're a 6-inch guy, right? So this is probably going to like hit you where it hurts.
Doesn't affect my life in any way.
No, I know. they all look the same. I don't care if you took a Black Series figure and a Legends figure and a classified figure and you stood them all next to each other, all look the fucking same. Like, with their weird proportions, and they don't look anatomically correct, and they're all like same legs, same torso, ugly ass fucking ab crunch falling over. Like they just look like ass. It's like they're
Meanwhile,
making electric shavers.
yeah, and then meanwhile you have friggin' what's it called is it Jazzwares who does the AEW figures? Jazzwares who does the AEW, and Mattel who does WWE Elites, just killing it lately.
And doesn't McFarlane make sports figures too?
I don't know if he does anymore, but he used to.
Yeah. Uncle Todd don't play. Uncle Todd he'll roll over anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, like you got Hasbro like, well, we can't do vehicles anymore. We can't do them for Star Wars. I mean, they even tried to make them for Black Series and those failed.
And so it's like, here's a Batmobile. It's like $25.
Yeah. And then McFarlane's like, oh, here's the Batmobile. And then Mattel's over there like, oh, did you see this Castle Grayskull? They're just like, they're killing it. And I know that they don't sell like crazy, but they do it. Even that Buzz Lightyear line, that XL-15 fighter for $45 with that spring-loaded cockpit and the freaking spring-loaded missiles. That fighter's amazing. I made Quietus and a couple of other custom 1/18 scale Transformer.
Nice.
Cybertronian fighters out of it. It was $45, and they're like, the best we can give you is a $230 HasLab Sky Striker. I'm like, I see. Okay. That's where we're going. That's where we're living.
Yeah, it's
the best we can give you.
The vehicle thing is weird. It's like, just make the vehicles. They're gonna be bigger, yeah, but just make them. What's it called? Mattel made a War Game set, which is 2 full-size rings with a cage.
Yeah, and then they just did a new Eternia.
Yeah, they just did a castle.
And it's $550, and you hear like, well, it's $550. Yeah, it's $550, but a flag's gonna run you $1,000.
Oh yeah.
And some people can't get like old school Eternia, so they will buy that new Eternia. Like,
yes, they will.
Mattel's over here like, oh, what do you want? Snake Mountain? Got you covered.
Oh my god, yeah. Mattel's like, who wants a new gen ring for their figures? And everyone's like, I do. They're like, great, order it right here.
Yep. It's like when all that all the Jazzwares, the Halo stuff came out, and they came out with that Mantis and the Warthog and everything, and you just go buy it, just go order it. Never out of stock, never hard to find. I was just like, buy. Yeah.
So, I mean,
but
it just doesn't make sense. It's like
the biggest toy company in like the history of toy companies is like, yeah, I'll give you some HasLab piece of shit.
They can't get out of their own way, and they're marketing to themselves, and they're selling to themselves, and they're talking to themselves.
Yeah. It seems like there's a lot of like nepotism there.
I don't know. I just know there's some real dummies in high positions who, Jesus, I wouldn't buy a fucking microwave from. Let's put it like that.
Yeah. No, I fully agree with you. And then you got companies like you got Click and Play, World Peacekeepers, things like that. All these parallel brands. Gridiron Studios, like they're a small independent company. They make 112 scale, 118 scale stuff. I think Marauder Gun Runners, they run circles around Hasbro with like the military action line and the 4-inch scale. Then you got Joy Toy as well. But that's that Click and Play F-18 fighter with the fold up wings. It's gorgeous, and it's the size of a Sky Striker. Cost me $50. $50. But Hasbro's like, we can't do it unless it's a HasLab.
Best we could do is $700.
But the thing is, like, they came up with this HasLab model to say, like, okay, so HasLab is for these things that are so huge, so outrageous, they'll never be in stores like the Kitana, Jabba's sail barge. So HasLab. Okay. I didn't see a lot of people crying about that because that thing is gigantic. And it has a lot of value in it. Like it's huge.
Yeah.
It's worth the cost. And then fast forward a little bit and they're like, here's a 118 scale fighter that we put out probably 15 times before. It's like, I think you're kind of abusing that model at this point. Like, it's not a new terror drone.
No, the prices on those HasLabs is so weird. Like, I did the video for Hero Quest when Hero Quest came back, and I saw the price tag. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I think it was like $100 or something. And I'm like, you're going to charge $100 for this when you can go out and buy Massive Darkness, buy like Cool Mini or not, come on. And you're going to get 5 times the minis and an overall more detailed game for $40 cheaper. Like, hostage nostalgia. Everyone remembers Hero Quest. Everyone loved Hero Quest. They don't give a shit about spending $100 on Hero Quest. Shut up and give us your money.
Yep. Yep. Hey kids, remember starting lineup? No, well, fucking take them anyway.
Yeah. Look, it's Alf. He's back in Pog form. You know.
I see that Alf and all I hear is, ah! That's all I hear. So I don't know if you know the answer to this. What happened to the G.I. Joe Nerf gun?
I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah. They announced one on one of that last PulseCon thing, I think, with the screaming dude and his screaming buddy. And yeah, they were supposed to come out with a G.I. Joe Nerf gun, and then they canned it.
Wasn't it like the Cobra Commander blaster, or am I making that up? I don't remember.
No, it wasn't Cobra Commander's Viper pistol. It was just like it didn't even look like the XMLR-14 laser rifle. You know, like the one that they did for Aliens. The M41A pulse rifle, like looks like a pulse rifle. This one is just like some generic G.I. Joe. And I'm going to ask you another question in a second. Yeah. Anyway, so they showed it, and it was all Joe imagery on one side, and it was all Cobra imagery on the other side, and then I guess they just shit canned it. Rick, I got to ask you this, and maybe you'll know, right? Because you dealt with all the social stuff and the digital whatnots. What is the deal with this company and choosing when they will and won't use the word gun?
Oh, they'll just never use it.
But they say gun. They'll say shotgun. They'll say spear gun. They'll say gun 1 minute, and then it becomes blaster, 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 blaster.
Yeah.
Do you know why? Is it because the word gun is like fucking controversial when you're making money hand over fist on a military line?
Dude, yeah. I mean, come on. Like you're selling guns to kids. Like not real guns, but
watch out for Hooded Cobra Commander.
You know, there's a lot of stuff like that. Like, I mean, we could literally talk about like all the things that just don't make any sense for hours because there's that many of them. Like, what do Transformers do when they change forms?
Hide? I don't know.
No, like if you're Optimus Prime, right, and you're going from a truck to a robot, what's that called?
Transforming?
You would think, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
They call it converting. It's convert. We had to say convert.
They're not called converters.
I know that. I also know that in the fucking Transformers song, like not the song, but Optimus Prime literally says transform and roll out.
Yeah.
So has he been lying to us for 40 years? That's just one of those weird things where it's like, for some reason, they decided and got it in their head that Transformers don't transform, they convert. And that's why on social, the language we use was convert. We didn't want to. I say transform. They're called Transformers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah. They're not the polymorphers. They're not. They don't transubstantiate. They transform. Like, what the shit?
That's dumb. That's stupid.
But that's just blaster. A long-winded example of like the gun blaster thing. I don't know. I don't think anyone does. Honestly, the person who probably put that rule in place probably got fired.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a high probability of that. They probably got let go.
There's probably all these legacy rules in place, and then the person isn't there anymore, but everyone just accepts it.
Somebody got told to write a memo like 5 years ago, and they're like, "Oh, hey, did you send out that memo?" Yeah, I just sent it out to everybody. Okay, pack your shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to make light of people losing their jobs, but I mean that sounds like some dumb shit they would do.
It's very on brand.
Yeah, and then Aaron says probably the same guy that said Cobra Commander can't be hooded anymore. Well, that was Lorenzo Di Bonaventura, and those freaking idiots just listen to him.
But I'm okay blaming him for Convert as well.
Di Bonaventura?
Yeah, I'm gonna make that canon.
Okay.
Anyway, whatever. I mean, no one knows anyway, so we'll just start saying that.
It's all Di Bonaventura's fault.
It's all Di Bonaventura. Transformers Convert, not transform, because of that piece of shit.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, 100%. The only last point that I have, it's kind of about your hostage nostalgia. I heard an analogy about this whole thing with the adult collectors and the deep pocket guys, and they're relying on the deep pocket people, and sooner or later they're gonna get tired of their shit. And that nostalgia and only appealing to adult collectors is kind of like flying a glider, right? And it was actually Michael from Retro Blasting that used this analogy, and I thought it was perfect. Where it'll fly for a minute, but it's gonna crash, and when it crashes, it's done.
I mean, like I constantly, I mean, honestly, I compare everything to professional wrestling because professional wrestling is such a good amalgamation and like for everything happening in the world because it's all fucking nonsense and smoke and mirrors. But
do it.
The toy industry and wrestling, it's very similar. If you look at it, you had your boom period and you lived off that. You lived off that boom period for the longest time. Like they were making WWE put out the shittiest product in the world for a good 10 years because they didn't have competition. It's not like you got a lot of other companies out there making converting robots or like military lines. You do now, but you didn't for a while. So they kind of had shit cornered in like different areas. So it didn't matter what they put out. You could put out garbage, but people want that sector. You know what I mean? They want the military toys, and this is what they got. So that's what they're going to get,
Right.
And that's the quality is going to keep going down. The storytelling is going to keep going down. And I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's because they keep getting rid of people who are incredibly good at what they do and very passionate. And that sucks.
Yeah, it does. And I'm with Will here. Bring back the GoBots.
They should.
I mean, so Psykill was in a freaking Transformers comic. Are the GoBots, are they Transformer canon now?
I think they are.
Because Megatron, like, he kicked the crap out of Psykill. But then they also used Psykill in the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. So somebody out there is pimping out the GoBots. I'm just saying, man, don't talk shit on Psykill. Like, we're going to fight. Talk shit on Psykill. Psykill's rad. Everybody wants to punk out Psykill these days.
Next time I'm on, if you ever have me on the show again, I'm just going to wear a shirt that says fuck Psykill.
Look, I'll bring you back on just for that. I would love to have you come back. Do you have military toys over there? Who are you talking to, Lilith? Us in America, we got military everything. Guns. We love guns. Yeah. Hasbro may not like the word gun, but America was built on guns. We love our guns. Someone say GoBots. GoBots. Okay. Anyway. Well, Rick, I want to thank you for hanging out with me tonight, sir. I really enjoyed our talk. It was good to just sit and bullshit with you and hear some insight from you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I hope hope I didn't suck that bad, and it was a great time. Thank you.
Don't suck at all. It's totally awesome. I'm surprised my wife didn't pop in and say hi to you. She always does.
I'm usually not on I'm not like a very social, like on camera person. So this is
it's totally cool. We're just hanging out shooting the shit, man. I loved hanging out talking with you.
Yeah, like listen, anytime you want to talk G.I. Joe, pro wrestling, or 80s action movies, I'm an easy guy to get a hold of.
100%. I would love to have you back on. One of the former modelers of Hasbro in like the early 2000s. He and I talk on TikTok of all places.
Oh, wow.
He started following me on TikTok and he's like, hey, I worked on G.I. Joe during like Rise of Cobra, Retaliation, Pursuit of Cobra, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, man, I would love to have you on my YouTube channel. He's like, cool. So I'll bring you both on at the same time. Maybe I can drag Bobby on too.
Do it. Let's have a trip.
We'll have Weber. I'll just get everybody.
Get Mark. Get Daryl.
Yeah. Mark's somebody that I haven't had on yet. But I plan on it at some point. So
big Mark Weber fan.
Yeah,
He's fan
really
of Mark. Great guy, great human being. Daryl too.
And I was blessed and fortunate enough to have Kirk Bazigian on, which just totally blew my mind.
Should reach out to Ron too.
Maybe we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Ron Rudet's cool, but we're not talking about Ron. We're not talking about them. We're talking about you right now.
Oh yeah,
so
okay.
I can't thank you enough for hanging out with me tonight and all the people in my chat, and I'm sure they loved having you.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, see right there. Look, Aaron from Real American Headcast. He said, "Great show."
Well, I'm available if you want to talk.
Rick
GI
was
or talk shit.
Freaking awesome. Oh yeah, for sure. We'll definitely set up another thing in the future.
Awesome. Well, thank you. What do I do? Do I just hang up? Is that how do I?
No, you don't. Just hang tight. Just sit here and chill with me. We're gonna say goodbye to everybody in the chat, and then I'm gonna do my thing, and then we'll hang out. Okay.
I'll just sit here.
Just stay right here with me, okay? just hang tight. Anyway, so I want to thank everybody in the chat for hanging out with us. Yeah, I mean it wouldn't be any fun without all you people. So thank you. Yeah, you people. That's what I said. I said you people.
Wow.
But yeah, thanks for hanging out, everybody in the chat. And I will be back on Sunday. Well, first of all, me and Jay Bartlett tomorrow night on his channel, as always, every Friday. And Sunday, we're having an articulated chat block party. So I hope you all come. And Rick, you can come too.
Yeah, I'll be there. I mean, I'll show
up
for it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah. Well, thanks everybody, and have a great night. Say bye.
Oh, well, that was what the wave was for. See, now you made it weird. See, now I look like an asshole.
Right? That's kind of the Laurel and Hardy, like, say bye, Rick. Bye, Rick. Right?
It's like the end of 3PO last night. It actually made the show. I was like, all right, well, see you later. And everything, like, said their goodbyes. And then I go, whew. I go, how'd I do? I feel like I really fucking sucked. And they were like, we're still on. I was like, oh, and then it ended.
No, it actually didn't catch it.
Oh, good.
No, and the weird thing about okay, so this is some behind the curtain stuff right here, and I don't know why I'm saying it on air, but since you brought it up, I'm going to address it. When you hit end broadcast, it kind of spins for a couple, and it actually doesn't say ended for like 10 seconds. So I could sit here and I could be like, man, that guy in the chat was a fucking asshole. It'd be like, oh shit, I thought it ended. But yeah, you'll see it just it does like a weird abrupt end.
Okay,
but yeah, you guys said bye and it just froze.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, it was real funny because I went back and watched it, and actually on the live stream, a buddy heard it and he texted me. He goes, "Wow." He goes, "Now that's how you end a show." I was like,
yeah, I didn't catch it. I heard Ryan plugged you hanging out with me tonight, which I thought was really cool and I appreciated it. And then it was just like, okay, bye, and then it just kind of ended.
Well, good.
Anyway, so once again, goodbye to everyone in the chat. We're leaving, and then yes, Aaron, hit me up.
Bye, everyone.
Hit you up.
We'll
Aaron might hit you up. Aaron's
okay.
rad.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, hit me up.
All right, everyone's saying bye, 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 bye. Okay, good night. I love you all. See you on Sunday. Hopefully, come hang out with me and Jay tomorrow. So, bye.
Take care, y'all.